So Lee, tell us what happened.
Yeah, so I'm at work and I go into the patient's room and I don't remember exactly how the conversation started, but of course she asked me about circumcision and then the conversation began and she told me because she doesn't want to have to pull it back and using her fingers to clean it. I'm like, how old is your first child that she did that to? 23 years old. He's intact. So I'm sorry. I told her the only person that's supposed to do that is a child around 16 years old. I don't know where she got that information from. Probably in Jamaica, because I think she had her child in Jamaica. So okay, I'll be right out. So I go on to say, oh, there's a couple of videos that you can watch, some websites I can give you. And she's like, oh, okay, okay. And then about an hour later, she was looking for me. She's like, come. I go in her room and I put on Elephant in the Hospital Room for her to watch. She watched it, and that was the end of the conversation.
Hell yeah.
And then I always have to double check the chart, the baby chart, to see the bullshit consent form is not there.
Right. That's
Because
cool. Well, congratulations.
thank you. Because nobody does any education. A fucking
Right.
policy is to educate. Nobody fucking follows their own policy. Because if you would educate, nobody would do it. Right?
Obviously.
You know that.
Any decent human being would, like I mean, if you have human emotions and a heart and like some level of common sense and
common
some level of
sense.
moral aptitude, yeah, of course you wouldn't. But I don't know. It's kind of weird when we talk to these people that are just so about it, and it's just crazy. I mean, there's that one statement: "Who wouldn't jump at a chance to save their child from pain?" You know what I mean?
Oh my god, they don't get it.
Who would argue for that? It's just,
right.
But it's a brainwashing. It's really just a really weird cultural brainwash. I mean, we live in like, this is like we're a tribal, group from the sticks somewhere that just like has no level of decent education. I mean, think about this. We have people that went to sociology, took, I don't know, psychology, cultural anthropology, that have, they were taught that science is about questioning, not just about blind belief, and that, they were taught all these basic things that would lead. I mean, natural selection in itself debunks the idea that we should have this dangerous body part that's attached to our body somehow. I mean, we would never survive natural selection. We wouldn't even be here if our penises just reached up and killed us in the night. You know what I mean? It's just ludicrous. It's just so nonsensical and stupid. It's childish. Like, it's almost immature and embarrassing. Like, I'm embarrassed that there's so many, that I come from a culture that is this ridiculous, that they're this far off of what should be considered norm. What is just so obviously unethical. And it's just outrageous. I mean, just talking to people on what is it? Damn, I'm so tired. I'm at another world today. But what's that? Damn.
Twitter?
Not Twitter. The other one, the movie one, the video one.
TikTok? I'm not watching TikTok.
Nope.
I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
It's almost my God. I mean, never mind. I'm having this argument with this dude, and he's like bringing up the covenant. I'm like, dude, you just said Jesus Christ, and now you're bringing up the covenant. I mean, like, Jesus was the covenant, you dumb shit. Like, I mean,
so you're saying bitter. I have a, what was that?
Oh. That was Old Testament.
Oh. So the hospital is getting doulas now. So we're going to see, hopefully the doulas will educate prenatally.
No, we got to
There's
make
the
sure
change.
every one of those doulas is on our doula list.
I know, right? I can
Well,
get the
you probably have
list.
them all on there. You probably already have them on there, thanks to your outreach or your
The only
Facebook.
problem is the Muslims.
Actually, if we want to run a campaign to the Muslims, because if you look at the Quran's completely against it.
And come on, you don't have religious
I mean, the only
whatever in a
religion that you can
hospital. You're
even
not
the
doing
only
a
religion,
religious ceremony
yeah,
in a hospital.
well,
Bullshit.
that's obvious. But what I'm saying is as far as convincing Muslims not to do it, it's in the Quran that says that Satan will try to get you to cut parts off cows' ears or something like that.
Well, I guess the mother's not reading
that,
their own book, right?
well, I mean, who reads art? Who reads the Bible? Like,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I didn't even hear. I mean, I was never even taught that there was this whole Christian debate against circumcision. You know what I mean? Like, I never was even taught that, and it's right there in the Bible. It's like predominantly the whole second half of the Bible was literally about Jesus fulfilling the covenant. And then people argue with that. I'm like, okay, well, you're picking and choosing what you want. Obviously there is progression. Jesus died for something, right? What did he die for? He died to fulfill the covenant. The covenant was obsolete. That's the whole point of Jesus dying. I mean, how do you have people that just don't get that? I don't know. It's mind-boggling, but it is what it is. Astronomically mind-boggling, but whatever. It's all good. Yeah, as far as but congratulations, Lee. That's amazing.
Thanks.
Well, how much time do you have tonight? Are you at work right now?
Yeah, I'm in and out. I'm at work.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because I know it's hard for you to talk for long when you're at work and stuff. I know you're in and out and stuff, but it's just nice to even have you just join us when you can.
Thanks.
And I've been better at putting these things online on YouTube. I've got a bunch of them up right now. So we have a whole bunch of these of all of our meetings, a lot of our meetings up online. Last week, was it last week that I missed up? It was like one of the best meetings we ever had, and I completely missed it. I don't know. It's when I get no sleep, I'm just irresponsible and what do you call it? I cannot be. I just forget stupid things. It's annoying. It's really annoying, but whatever. But yeah, I worked last night for like 26 hours. So I just got off my shift at 6:30 our time, which is we're an hour behind everybody because they don't do that bullshit daylight savings time, which is one of the best parts of Arizona. That's the one thing about Arizona I love so much is that we do not do that daylight savings time thing. Because like they should move the time, I don't know, earlier so that you have more time at 5 o'clock to go outside and go on a run with your kids or go biking with your kids after you get off work. You know what I mean? Not less time, but it's based off of farmers from like the 1800s. I don't know. I don't even know how it works. I'm not that good with daylight savings time. But anyways, yeah, we still got 9 minutes before everybody jumps on here. But yeah, I put out a couple videos this week. If you guys want to see some of those, I'm just going to show them to you guys. I'm just going to do this until people jump on here because I don't want to, I'm like wiped out and I don't really want to try to talk for the next 8 minutes. So let me share my screen here. Okay, and then, oh yeah, here's all of them. So here's all of the meetings that are now up on YouTube. And we got to get a few. I'm getting a few more. I'm working on a few more, but these are all up on YouTube right now. So these are my what we have on YouTube right now. We've got Ron Lowe on the TLC Tugger, which is restoring and talking about. He has a little story about him Jim Jeffries about how he protested at the Jim Jeffries comedy thing. Let's see. There's Doctor Admits Incompetence. If you haven't seen my Doctor Admits Incompetence, I go hard on this doctor, and it's fantastic. One of my favorite videos of mine. And this is when I was just in the state. I was releasing on this dude. 660 views. I didn't even know I had that many views on this. Oh, this reminds me. Hey, how do I have 660 views and 56 likes? How the fuck? If you're gonna watch my videos, spend the 10 sec, like not even 10, what is it? 0.2 seconds to move your little, scroll your finger down over here and just click that like button. Because why are you watching a video on Intactivism and not liking it? I don't fathom. I mean, I can understand some people like, oh, you know what? I'm too scared to show it, so, or share it because I don't want people knowing or whatever. I mean, I get that. Some people are like that. But like, and I don't know how many people have shared this or not. I'm sure that's probably how it got up to 660 views, but that's pretty cool. I didn't even know that. So we only have 172 subscribers. We should have 10,000 subscribers. But it doesn't really matter. Like the stuff we're doing is way more valuable than I see this YouTube channel. Although it still has a lot of potential, you know. So we got people giving some good feedback on here. But anyways, you guys want to hear this? This is pretty crazy. This is me going in on a stalker. Called the right place. No.
Can I say something?
Yeah, jump in there. We'll pause it.
Oh.
Go ahead.
Oh, me and Anthony were talking about, I think the other day ago, about his, well, I guess friend from college or something like that,
Oh,
from school or something like that. And he was like, I was gonna explain to you about the
what were you gonna say?
I was gonna explain to you about like getting her to talk to her about genital mutilation, because like she blocked Anthony. And I was wondering how like to message her without getting blocked. It's on Instagram.
Oh, who was this about?
I don't know how to pronounce her name.
Oh, how do you know
Anthony?
her?
Oh, I know her by Anthony, if he's here.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know, I mean, you're gonna have people that are gonna listen. You're gonna have people that aren't, and you know, people that aren't, you just can't do anything about it, right? I mean, you know, only so much you can do, and it's like if they're not gonna listen to you, don't waste your time. Like, there's so many people. There's a lot of people out there that will. So you can't get wrapped up in that. You know what I'm saying? Like, because then you'll just run, it'll just rack your brain and you just get so upset. And it's just a rabbit hole that, you don't want her to go down, because it's this shit that people say about this and think about this is just ridiculous. I mean, like this image that just happens to be here, circumcision supporter bingo. These people will just jump from one thing to the other. Oh, it's beneficial. Oh, it's ewy. Oh, it smells. Ooh, smegma. Ooh, cheese. They'll body shame men. They'll go back and forth between these ridiculous, nonsensical arguments, and then you beat them on one, and they'll go to the next. It's just I started just saying, what's your angle? What's your why do you support this? You gotta, and I think that's what Paul was trying to teach me. Paul Settlemeyer, he was talking about this stuff with us. Paul, I really want to bring back his, open-ended question kind of thing. And that's another thing you could do, is you could ask her questions about it. Like, that's another thing that we could start working on. I'm just more of the, like, this video right here is me just going off on this doctor. And I'm asking him questions to see what he knows. And then I just go in on him. It's really funny. But yeah, as far as, so how do you know this person? You don't know her at all, right? You know anything, like, what's her what's her demographics? Like, is she from the South? Is she from the North? Is she American?
Oh, I don't know all that.
Okay.
I just know her from Anthony. And
I am here, by the way, in case you're wondering.
What's up, man?
Oh, not much.
Good to have you, brother.
Good to be here.
Right.
Makes Mondays less dreadful.
Right. That's good to hear. That makes me happy. Yeah, I noticed you were here. I'm sorry I didn't mention. Usually a lot of times, by the way, guys, I haven't slept in a lot. So I work like a 26-hour shift. And so I'm just a little bit wiped. But so normally I'm like, hey, thanks for joining us. But yeah, Serena, glad to have you. Scott, awesome to have you. Lee and Anthony, thank you guys for joining with us tonight. I'm recording it, but I don't know if I'm gonna even post this one, just because I'm just like I don't really have anything planned for tonight. Like, I just finished the shift and I'm just like whatever. So we're just gonna have fun, talk about bullshit, and then just see what, just have a normal conversation like we're friends on the phone, and we can talk about whatever we want to talk about. We can throw out there any questions that you want to talk about. Serena, so I'm trying to answer your question. So you met her through Anthony. Anthony, what do you know about this person?
Oh, we went to the same high school. She was like a year ahead of me.
Oh, this is somebody you know. So, okay. So
Yeah,
there's
well,
some,
I mean, it's not like, it's like we talked a few times. It's not like we were like best of friends or anything, but we
Right.
she was a bartender for a couple of years, and I went to that bar every once in a while. So it's like, I followed her on Instagram, and then she followed me back, and then I was just casually scrolling through my followers one day, and I noticed she wasn't there. It's like, oh, well, she has a son who just turned 1 like a couple of days ago or something. I was like, well, so I automatically assumed that she was like for this now. It's like, because circumcision is like 95% of what I post.
Right.
Every now and again, I post something other random political crap. It's like, if you were against this, and if she was against this, she wouldn't have unfollowed me, I assume. So then I just messaged her about it, and I threw in something about how it's harmful and unnecessary and blah blah, and she didn't even respond. She just blocked me. It's like, okay.
There's a lot of ignorance out there, man. And like I said, I was saying earlier,
Yeah.
you can't take this into your heart, because what you're gonna do is you're gonna get upset and you're gonna make yourself feel like shit, and it's just no point to it. That's why well, I mean, there's always a point to trying, right? There's always a point to making the effort, but when someone is just going to shut you out or just not listen to you, there's nothing you can do. I mean,
Yeah.
There's a lot of, I mean, you can try all kinds of different things, but people are just going to do what they're going to do, and good and decent people will listen to you. That reminded me, because me and Scott sent out a message. Scott, when do we send that out? It was recent, right?
Which message you talking about exactly?
That one we sent out to the Missouri people. Let me see if I can find it. It was at, yeah, let me see. Did anybody respond to us?
Oh, yes. The email. Okay, the one where you sent her the video
Yeah.
elephant in the
Listen to
hospital.
this. Listen to this.
The teachers, two of them, yeah, in the Centralia High School. One of them's pregnant. One of them teaches health and teaches to circumcise, saying it's healthy.
I don't think we got any responses from either one of those.
Yeah,
I mean,
okay.
I try to keep this as simple as possible. You know, like, okay, this is the funny thing is Scott tells me these emails, and I'm like, I graduated from that high school. I literally went to that high school. So my family we lived in Columbia, Missouri, which is this little tiny, it's like a tiny college town. Like, you know, like when I lived there, it was like there's like 60,000 people were the residents of the normal residents, the live-in residents. And then when the university came, it blew up to like a 90,000. So like, you know, almost a half of the population, or, you know, like the population doubled by a half just when the students were in. And so it was a unique place, but I was going to high school there, and my family kind of fell apart when I was in high school, and my parents got divorced, and my mom just went through a whole lot of shit, and she was going to school. She ended up getting her master's degree in social work, and she was getting like, you know, straight A's in school, so she was super, super swamped and busy, and like, so it was anyways, it was a really weird time for me because of my development. And we moved back from Germany, and I lived in Germany for a while, and that was, you know, kind of affected my development myself. So anyways, in Columbia, it was you know, I ended up moving out of my mom's house, and I lived on my own for a little bit, and then I moved back in for like the last semester of school, and it was in Centralia High School, which my mom moved up to Centralia, which is like a couple of miles, like maybe I don't know, 10 miles, 12 miles north of Columbia. I can't remember exactly, but anyways, so I went to this little tiny ass podunk, you know, high school with, you know, like literally have a town of like 3,000 people, and it's called Centralia, Missouri. And Scott tells me, hey, I got these two people from Centralia, Missouri. I'm like, how the hell did you get people from Centralia, Missouri? And I'm like, well, I'm a graduate of it, so I figured, you know, that might be something to get me in the way here. So I said, I'm a graduate of Centralia High School. This is what I sent. I mean, you know, we could always critique these and make it better, right? So I wanted to share some valuable information. I think this is an important issue that needs to be addressed. It's time we learn the truth of this issue that affects our children. Please watch this video. If you have any questions, call me. I've studied this in depth for 7 years. Thank you, Daniel Roll. So I don't know, like, did they read it? Probably not. Who knows? But I did send it, and I never got a response back. So, you know, if you have an in with somebody, your likelihood is increased that you're gonna be able to communicate with them, right? That they'll listen to something, or at least, you know, open the door to something. But Scott, you were telling me, where did you? I know I asked you, but I don't really think I still know. Where did you get these people from? You said they were from someone you talked to.
Yeah, he lives out around in like either Missouri or Illinois.
Okay, well, who is that? Like, what's his
I
name?
don't. Well, yeah, I don't know.
You
I'll
don't know
look
who
it
this was. You just don't. You just remember that. Oh, thank you, baby.
I'll look it up maybe and text it to you. He's one of our guys that, yeah, he needed some help.
He what?
Needed help.
Okay. Well, anyways, we got to find out who this person is, because if they live in Centralia, Missouri, that's where I used to live, or my mom used to live there for a little bit. Back in, I mean, I graduated in 96, so it was a long time ago. 94, I graduated. Goddamn. Forget my own graduation date. 94, I graduated. 96 is when I went to the military. But 94, I graduated from high school there. And, you know, it's like, what the hell? How are you going to have somebody from my high school, this tiny ass little town of all the places in the world, even in the United States, let alone Missouri itself, You know, how would you pick Centralia? But that was weird. But so I did send them a message. It was it's worth the effort, right? So we made the effort to communicate, but nothing really went with it. It's just the way it is. I mean, it is what it is. You can only do so much with this stuff. And that's why we need to change the culture itself. Like until the support that people have, the the massive herd that's behind them of idiots, until we can influence that, it's going to be really hard to pull people that are entrenched and pluck them out of that type of mentality. But let's see, I've been getting a lot of sending. This is the Proton mail. And so people have been sending out the email 3, which I think is very valuable. Let me just show you. This is the Proton mail. So these are, let's see. Well, somebody's been sending something. So we got, this is from a mailing list. These are just some, these ones right here are just, or what do you call it? You start sending these people and they start sending you stuff. Anyways, it's 6:39. I guess we should actually kind of be more like we're actually starting something here. Okay, does anybody want anything to talk about, anything in particular today? Michael, what's up, man? Thanks for joining us. Kathleen, it's awesome to have you. I got to warn you guys, just for tonight, I worked a 26-hour shift last night and I haven't slept yet. So I'm a little spacey, a little tired, and I don't really have anything prepared for tonight. I think last weekend was one of the best weeks we've ever had, I think it was last week was probably one of the best weeks we ever had. I didn't actually videotape it, unfortunately, but it was still a really good meeting and I really enjoyed last week's meeting. So this week's meeting is going to sound like crap compared to last week, so I don't care. Let's have some fun. Let's talk about things. Is anybody, I know Lee had mentioned, before some of you guys got on, Lee had saved a baby. I don't know if it was today or recently, but she had a lady from Jamaica who
Yesterday.
had a son. Yesterday, right? And she had a son. And so she was taught in Jamaica to force retract him, right?
I suppose that was 23 years ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so she has a separation of 23 years between her children?
Well, no, the last one is 9. So 23, 21, and 9. And then yesterday.
23, 21, 9, and then 1.
A newborn, 1 day old.
Brand new, not even 1. Okay, point something. Okay, well, so she may have been taught. You said she asked you, she didn't want to have to retract him, so she didn't want to do all that. So she was considering circumcising him. And then, and I think, am I saying that rightly?
Yeah, that's correct.
Can you describe? Go ahead and tell us a little bit more. What happened?
Yeah, so she kind of used her finger. Sometimes they do that, like they use physical body language, and I'm like, well, you're really not supposed to do that. Like, this is 23 years ago. You don't want to make a mom feel bad, which she did to her child. Right. Like, the only person that's supposed to do that is a child around the age of 16 years old. And like, there's, some good websites I can share with you and YouTube videos. I always tell them that they have a computer, which is their phone. Do your research, educate yourself.
Right.
Try to empower all these mothers. And then about an hour later, she called me back to the room and I put on Elephant in the Hospital and she watched it.
Yeah,
and I saw her.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And then I saw her last night and I just saw her tonight and no other question came up about it.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, so Lee is a nurse and she works
No, not a nurse. I'm not a nurse.
What do you do?
Lactation.
Oh, okay. So you're like a lactation consultant.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
I guess
awesome.
if I was a nurse, it would be easy to save more babies if I was a nurse.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I got that confused. But
That's
yeah,
okay.
lactation consultant. We target lactation consultants in our outreach because lactation consultants, midwives, pre and post birth are very important. So everybody, I mean, even birth photographers. You know what I mean? Um, I think everybody's valuable. So, anyways, on that, what I showed earlier, that email, that actually had Elephant in the Hospital. So I used that one as well. I used to when American Circumcision was on Netflix, that I think was the best thing because so many people have Netflix, and then if they
Right.
don't, then I would revert to Elephant in the Hospital. But since it's kind of like on Amazon Prime or whatever, I think you have to pay for it or whatever. So I just use Elephant in the Hospital. I think it's the best, simple. It's in a college position. He's in a
Yep.
college and university.
Yep.
He's a professor. He's very well versed in it. He's very well educated, and the way he talks is very well. It's a very well. It's a very well designed program. So I mean, if you haven't heard of Elephant in the Hospital, you got to watch that. It's one of the best ones as far as a general, simple to the point thing. It's very easy to get wrapped up in these things and make it way harder than it should be. You know what I mean? It's very easy to, because I'm that way, like I want to know all the details and all that stuff. And then you start getting the, Meisner corpuscles and you have so much wealth of information. You're just like, well, where do I start the brand new person? Right. And that's where the KISS principle comes into play. You guys ever heard of the KISS principle? Does anybody know it? Scott, you probably know it.
Yeah. You used that with me. Or you spoke to me with it.
Well, you're in the military, so I learned that in the military.
I know what it is. Yeah.
I thought maybe you were hurt in the military. But tell them what it is.
But keep it simple, stupid.
Right. Keep it simple, stupid. Right. If don't make things a lot harder than they need to be. So you're talking to a new mother, always go back to your roots. That's another thing, is just don't forget, the foundational print, like what made you learn about this, like Elephant in the Hospital was one of the first ones I watched because I had some people show me that one and it just really blew my mind. But anyways, let's see, what else were we talking about? So Lee saved a baby. That's fantastic. So
Finally.
Well, you know what? Everyone's a win. Every chance is a win. What happened to Serena? She was on here a second ago. Serena,
she went up and she told me she was texting me earlier. She said she's busy with her son, so.
Oh, okay. Well,
trying
that's way more important.
Trying to put him to bed or something.
Right. Well, I have this philosophy that children come before anything else. When it comes to you got to put your family first. You got to take care of yourself and your family, and then you start worrying about volunteering or doing, NLI and all that other stuff. But like I said, if you're not taking care, I mean, what are we doing this for? If you're neglecting your kid to come online and or you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying that people are doing that, but I'm just saying that as far as volunteering goes, you have to. One of the things I learned as a personal trainer is, a lot of people, they think they're putting their children first, okay, by neglecting themselves and saying, you know what, I don't matter, my child matters more. Guess what? You're creating an example for your child. And if you want your child to have the same mentality, no one's going to ever take care of themselves. And there's a statement that my mentor, Paul Check, he's kind of like a previous mentor because he disappointed me so much on circumcision that I kind of lost any just almost regard. Anyways, he's still a very smart man, but he said that don't let your education get in the way of your learning. And no, that was a different state. It's the non-state. I'm just forgetful.
Yeah, especially in this day and age where the liberal beliefs have taken over the education system.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into politics just because we might have liberal people on here. I think politics are, you could argue, a lot of different ways with politics. I have my beliefs. I was a libertarian, I've been a libertarian kind of. I think that everybody's a libertarian. I think that, the The liberals are civil libertarians and the conservatives are economic libertarians. And I'm just both of those. So I believe in freedom and I believe in freedom of, economics. But, I also get, like that humans, need to band together to take care of each other, right? And anyways, where I was going with this is I was trying to say that if you can't take care of yourself, you can't take care of anybody else, right? So if you're raising a child and you're not eating good, you're not exercising, you're not getting sleep, well, guess what? You're not going to be taken care of very well. Your child. Okay, so if you think you're going to put your child in front of yourself, you're wrong. You literally have to put yourself first, and then you can take care of your child. And what I mean by that is, of course, don't neglect your child. You get what I'm saying. But it's kind of like the idea of when you're riding on a plane, right? And what do they tell you? When the oxygen thing falls down, who do you have to put the oxygen on first? Yourself. Why? Because if you lose consciousness, and most people don't realize this, but if a plane loses pressure, the oxygen that's in your body is going to get sucked out almost immediately, which means you're going to go out like that. Okay, so we did these things when I was in the military. They're pressure altitude chambers and stuff, and so they would have they would pressurize and depressurize. But when you depressurize, you would start going woozy really quick, and they had this all on video, right? And so if the oxygen drops and you don't put it over your face and you're worried about putting it on your child, and maybe your child's freaking out or whatever, and you're trying, guess what? You just went out. Now who's going to take care of your child? Okay. So that's my point is if when that oxygen comes down, you have to put it on yourself first, then you can put it on your child, because you got to take care of yourself so that you can take care of your child. Right. So the most important part in that type of thing, and most people don't know that, how fast you will literally go unconscious as soon as that air decompressurizes at 30,000 feet. Okay. Because at 30,000 feet, if you're not on oxygen, you're going to go under, and you're going to go out very, very quickly, because the oxygen in the air that you're breathing is reversing. So instead of the oxygen being pushed into your body, it's being pulled out of your body. And, you need oxygen, of course. So anyways, you got to take care of your children first. They always come first with anything, especially this. So when that's taken care of, then you got all this other time to focus on other stuff. You know what I mean? Then we can start worrying about other kids and making sure that they're not cutting their babies and stuff. But
Yeah,
I really,
I was gonna say, Sarah mentioned that back in the summer too. Sometime,
right?
she was like tweeting about it or something. Well, I
Yeah.
should have mentioned this last week. Like, Sarah and I have been friends for like a year through like Instagram and Twitter. It's not like
Sarah
we just
Zelnick?
met. What?
Sarah
Yeah.
Zelnick?
So
Is
like
that
we've never met in person yet. But it's like we're like internet friends, I guess you could say.
Right.
But she tweeted one time. She was like having anxiety about trying to find a balance between her own two kids and like she's like, oh, I want to save all these babies, but I still got to make sure I'm not like just ignoring my own kids and spending 90% of my life on the internet,
Right.
just trying to find a balance between your own kids and helping other kids.
Yeah, sometimes less is more too. I try to do too much, and I'm like just get overwhelmed and stuff. Like we have all these different campaigns. We're adding South Carolina, thanks to Kathleen. So Kathleen's throwing more on her plate. I'm just kidding. No, she's actually gonna be helping us with that. So Kathleen is gonna help us with editing as well. Hey Kathleen, did you ever have a chance to read through those emails? I know you're super busy yourself. Kathleen has her own children that she has to take care of.
Yes, no, I haven't had a chance yet. Can you guys hear me?
Okay. Yes, we can.
Hi, everyone.
How's it going?
Good. This is my first meeting. So
All
first,
right.
I'd like to say congratulations to Lee for saving her first baby.
Right.
It's an incredible feeling, and I'm just so happy to know that a baby was saved by you.
Right.
So
That's
yeah.
huge.
And then
I mean, you
also,
literally changed that child's whole life. I mean, if I could imagine my life without my I mean, a lot of people just don't get it. Like they don't get how something that happens to you as an infant can literally change your life. But when you understand psychology and you understand like adverse childhood experiences, I mean, Harvard University has studied this in depth. There's all these different parts of your brain that are literally changed morphologically changed, and your epigenome, how your genes are activated, is changed by early life trauma. And this is such a damaging trauma, it alters the rest of your life. So I could imagine if I didn't have that anger inside that my dad had, that I had, that I just thought was part of our, I mean, because my dad never hauled off and beat me like a man. You know what I mean? I know some kids that their parents were horrible, you know, beat them like they were just like they were fighting some dude at the bar. You know what I mean? And this is a child, you know, a small child, you know, so I didn't have that type of thing, but I still have this anger. And I was like, where'd that come from? Like, it never made any sense. It's almost like I've always known there was something wrong, but I could never really pinpoint it and put it together. Like, where did this come from? I mean, I'm not a person that goes out and like attacks people. You know, I did martial arts for a long time and I can defend myself pretty well, but I don't go and I don't try to dominate other males and try to, you know, I think part of that insecurity of that need to dominate thing, especially in American culture, has a lot to do with being genitally mutilated. And I think a lot of the anger that we see in men is directly related to this. And especially if there's no other reasons. I mean, of course, additional trauma can add a lot more to it, you know, and we all have to go through trauma in life. But what I'm talking about is like abuse, like a really, really horrific abuse. You know, the more you add, you know, the more it alters your mind. But so it's anyways, I can go out on a little tangent there. So yeah, so you have to find the balance, right? You have to really make sure that you're. So what I was going to say with that is it is so important that we're doing this, right? You know, and that this will influence your children as well. So the future that your children are going to grow into are going to be altered by whether or not we can have a dent in this horrible thing, because this is driving so much of our social problems. This is a core foundational issue that everything that's built on top of it is altered because of it. And so when you understand that, you realize that this is probably one of the most important things anybody could do. I mean, I started as a health and nutrition advocate, and you know, I started, you know, studying like how they put these chemicals in our food, you know, and the FDA and there's this book. If anybody wants to know how propaganda works, there's this book called "Trust Us, We're Experts," and I forgot who wrote the book, but it's a fantastic book. But it really goes into you know, different techniques that propagandists use, you know, to manipulate people, to get them to think a certain way. And you see how, you know, things such as, you know, aspartame or, you know, MSG, which I think is aspartame, is just another term for it, or even things like PCBs or, you know, like, I don't know if you guys know the story of PCBs. PCBs were created by Monsanto, and they were used in like refrigeration. And PCB is a chlorine-based chemical, and if you look at the periodic table, chlorine is a stable chemical. And so what that means is it persists for a long period of time. So, you know, imagine a chemical that doesn't break down. Obviously, it's going to be worth money, especially if it has industrial uses. And so they were using it in all sorts of industrial uses, and they were flooding the whole ecosystem with PCBs. Well, Monsanto knew probably 30 or 40 years before before they ever stopped doing it, right? Before the scientists finally got them to stop putting out PCBs. In fact, all of us right now have PCBs in our system. So a PCB is they did this thing, and they had this they had these internal documents, right, that showed that they were knowledgeable about this. Like, they had employees that were having leukemia-like symptoms and all these problems that had like PCB spills around them, and it was causing all these health problems. So Monsanto was covering it up, right? And they manipulate, you know, the population into, you know, that's why we have glyphosate right now, you know, from Monsanto as well. You know, and Monsanto created Agent Orange in Vietnam, and they use techniques like, for instance, it's called the third party technique. So, you know, like the Chemical Council of America. Well, all these chemical companies, they'll create like a benevolent sounding, independent research organization, and what it is, it's just a shill for their needs. And so they'll hire doctors and they'll hire people to make fake research. That's why you have to be really careful about research, like what you believe as far as research is concerned, because a lot of it is it's bought and paid for. Someone has to have a reason for creating research. It's very expensive, right? So in order to pay for research, you have to have some sort of benefit from it. There's got to be some sort of economic benefit. That's why all these companies, they go after these patents for all these drugs, right? And they make so much money off it. But they'll manipulate research. They'll manipulate the public. They'll get supposedly independent agencies that they fund to come out and say that this is good for us. I mean, it's pretty crazy in that book. It's called Trust Us, We're Experts. I learned about, you guys ever heard of Edward Bernays? This is that's good. You know that, Scott. Edward Bernays was most people don't know him. Edward
Empower
Bernays,
the women to smoke or something.
Yep, that's a really good. I'm glad you brought that one up. I'll tell you about that one if you want to hear about it. But Edward Bernays was actually Freud's nephew, Sigmund Freud's nephew, and there's obviously an intelligent line in that family, and so he was Sigmund Freud's nephew, and he took what his uncle created and utilized it to make profits for companies. He actually wrote a book called Propaganda before propaganda was considered to be wrong and bad. And he, like the first statement in Propaganda was how there's a group of men that know how to manipulate and pull the levers of society, that are the true controllers of society, that they're unelected. They control the levers and they control what people believe and they control what people think. I mean, I think that it's just fascinating. But for instance, so I know that Edward Bernays.
Dan,
Go ahead.
I gotta go soon.
Okay.
So,
Did you want to say something real quick before you jump
yeah,
off?
so I just wanted to let everyone know that there is a protest this Friday in Austin at
Yes.
UT. Again, they were here last week, right? Was it just last weekend? No.
Is it cockfight?
Yes, with Cockfight 2 weekends ago. They were already at UT. I joined them on that one. That was great. And so they're doing it again. It's Black Friday. I think it's 8 a.m. to 11 a.m. I'm like 95% sure about that. So if anybody knows anyone near Austin or who is willing to drive up to Austin, that's happening with Cockfight. I'm sure if you let Dan know, he would get them in contact with Cockfight or me or them or whatever.
Yeah,
so
anybody that we can get. Yeah.
Yes. And so that's it. That's what I wanted to share.
Hey, Kathleen, did I show you? I want to show you something real quick. Because I did send out this email last night while I was.
I know.
Did you get that?
That's insane. That's great.
Or did you see that? You did see it?
No, I haven't done it.
Let me just pull it up. I just want you guys to see real quick how many numbers we got on this. So the one thing that I love about MailChimp is because it'll tell you exactly who opened your email and stuff. And so this is the, okay, we sent this to 746 people. We had an open rate of 15.7%, which is fantastic. Okay, so that's a really good open rate. Let me pull up the email.
Hey, can I ask everyone to look in the chats for this on Zoom chats right now? I posted some, and I want everyone to take it. And what it is, it's a. Can you guys see it?
Yes.
Okay, it's a list, right? You see the list and numbers and their stuff. Yeah, everyone, get that, copy it. It's what we can put out when we talk to people that have to join us to say, look, this is what we need people to do. You can choose something from here.
That's a really good idea. Yeah, that's a good list. Thank you, Scott.
So yeah, everyone take that list.
Hey, Scott, I want to show Kathleen this before she gets off. So just let me finish this real quick. Hold on one second. Here's the email. Okay, so I love this one. Nobody wants less penis. Cockfight.org. Cockfight at Texas A&M University this weekend. This is the result. Look at these. Look at these images. How fantastic are these?
I
So
know.
this is spread
This
by
is
over
and this is
100
Cockfight, everyone. So they're who I'm protesting with this Friday.
Right. Yeah, this was your group in Texas, and this was just this weekend at Texas A&M. So unfortunately, we don't have Kathleen in this one, but we did have her in the previous one. I just wanted to make sure that the media has access to these pictures, and is looking at this because, you know, I mean, this is newsworthy. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Uh,
it is.
So we got the Texas A&M. We got watch this video. We've got and I put in a picture of a pretty horrible picture. I might have to blur that out, but you know, I put that in there because this is not Medicine America. This is child abuse. You know, so anyways, it's what we're fighting about, right? So, anyways, this went out and this was read by a lot of different people. So really happy about that. So we have to put. I realize that we have to, you know, inform them about the event, try to get them to go to the event, and after the event is done, we have to send another follow-up. Because I know we had an article printed that way recently where I think it was in Pennsylvania, where it was like after the fact that they utilized some of the Intactivist pictures and actually made an article using the Intactivist pictures after the fact, which was pretty cool. So, I mean, most news is after the fact anyways, right? But anyways, so this
Yeah,
gave
so I
us,
should follow up on that one with that one guy that I talked to before the A&M game.
what's that?
Remember?
What did you say?
So I should follow up with that one guy that I talked to before the A&M game last week. Remember?
Right.
Yeah. With these pictures, I should, because now I could supply him with these pictures, which are visually stunning.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
because that was from the A&M game. So
I
is
think
that what you're
I
trying to tell
sent
me?
this to those people, the ones that you're
To
talking
follow-
about.
Oh, really?
What
The
was-
Eagle?
No, hold on. Let me go back. Let's see, who read this? I think one of them read it too. Damn. Let's see. This thing always confused me. It seems to be like so unorganized how they have this thing set up. Oh, that's a social media. Okay, let me see. Here, view the report. And of course, my lack of sleep doesn't help. Opened. I wonder if I can search through this. What was the name? Do you remember?
The Eagle. The newspaper's name was the Eagle, and the guy that I talked to was Darren.
Oh, okay. Did you get an email from him?
No, not me. No, I sent
Oh,
an
okay.
email to him, but I should follow up. I mean,
Yeah,
unless you,
absolutely.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what this is for. Yeah, definitely follow up with him.
Okay. Yeah.
You got to go. Go ahead. Go ahead. Thank you for joining
All
us.
right. It
was
was
nice to have
nice
you.
to. Bye, you guys. Good night.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
Okay. One thing I want to mention is that follow up, like she was just saying, kind of reminded me, is follow up's extremely important. When you're doing an event like this, always show up with a clipboard with name, email, phone number. Always, always, always. If you're not doing that, if you have whatever excuse, I don't care what it is, I've heard some excuses. If you're not doing this, this is like, it's almost like shooting yourself in the foot and then wondering why you're in pain. Because if you really want to get people to be involved, you have to create lists, right? That's why phase one is what we're doing is gather the list, get the emails, right? That's the most important part. If you're not getting emails and phone numbers of these people, we should have every guy on here. That's what 7 guys right there. We should have all 7 guys emails and phone numbers. Okay, they should be on our list. They should be having campaigns run to them because these guys are perfect targets, right? They're in the military. Okay, they're going to have influence over other people, especially they're probably in ROTC. So these are going to be officers in the military. I mean, what better people to have educate them at a perfect time in their lives when they're less dogmatic about things and they're going through school, you know, and a lot of these school courses that they're taking teaches them, you know, they're taught literally to be, well, at least they should be taught to be open-minded. But anyways, so that's a pretty cool thing. And to me, this is way more valuable than any post you could make on Facebook or Twitter. You know, these people, this was read by 100 and, sorry, I was trying to find the report. Here's the report. This was read by all these people right here. Let's see right here. Opened. Okay, so these are read by all these people. And let's put it up to 100. 117 people. And these are all reporters, right? How many times have you ever had 117 likes on a post, right? Look at this person, KSYatechI@gmail has opened this email 4 times. They opened it 4 times. Why? Look at this one, Tech Tips at Texas Tribune.
Hey,
Opened it 12 times.
that's awesome. I need to ask something for Serena. She, you know, doesn't have time to talk. She is still having trouble with her family, the parishioner, you know, cutter boy, because of Muslim beliefs, and she really doesn't want to do it. You know, is there anything that any of us could do to help out and get them off her case?
Well, the whole campaign that we've just written, if that can't do it, I don't know what will. And it's just like we were talking about earlier, like how can we change people's opinion? Well, we could strap them down and cut parts off them, which is not an option, unfortunately. Or we could just do the best that we can. And so I'm just kidding about the strap them down and cut parts off them. But I
That
mean,
would get
it's
the
literally
message
what they're doing
across,
with babies.
you know?
So it's kind of the golden rule. If you're going to do it to babies, you kind of deserve it done to you. And I'm sure as soon as it was done to them, their tune would switch very, very quickly. You know, oh, this is what this feels like. I mean,
It's already been done, you know. It's
well, I
there.
mean, some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is there's other body parts, and they're less painful. So, hey, this is less painful than that one. Let's see
Go
what
for
your
it.
pinky. I mean, I'd rather be missing a pinky finger than the most sensitive part of my genitals. And chop off my pinky finger. I'd rather that than the primary sensory tissue of my genitals. I mean, just because I think it's because I'm smart and I get that. But imagine how painful it'd be to chop off your pinky finger. I mean,
Yeah.
that would be painful as fuck, right? So, you know, obviously, you
like,
start chopping
YouTube's a
parts
punishment
off
right
people,
there.
well, do you get it yet? Do you get it yet? Do you get it yet? I mean, how many fingers you got? I mean, I'm sure eventually. I'm just kidding. That's a horrible thought. But anyways, violence is not the key to this issue. In fact, if we were to ever have somebody that did violence, it probably would push people more further away from us, and it would be easy for them to utilize that. You're giving away propaganda to the opposite side, okay? And that's why we have to be very smart about what we do. We can't give away, propaganda to the other side. Oh, anyways, I was going to go say something about Edward Bernays, so you guys kind of get what I was saying. Scott brought up the issue, the point of him. So the reason why we have breakfast food is because of Edward Bernays. Prior to Edward Bernays, people just ate whatever they ate. They didn't say, oh, this is breakfast food. Breakfast food is eggs, bacon, and cereal. You know, they didn't have that. But Edward Bernays was hired by, I think, a couple different companies, and he came out saying that Americans need hearty food. And so he started pushing bacon. I think it was the bacon industry, actually. But so anyways, he was hired by these agencies to push these certain foods. And so he came out and said that he hired all these doctors to say that Americans need to eat a hearty breakfast, and you need bacon and, you know, good eggs and all this stuff. But anyways, that's how. I'll give you another example. In the Easter parade, I forgot what year it was. At the time, there's a taboo of women smoking. So Edward Bernays, being the genius that he was, realized that there's this women's suffrage movement at the same time, this women's rights movement, this movement to have, you know, I mean, women couldn't even vote at the time. So we did have a patriarchal society, you know, no matter what anybody said. We did have a very patriarchal. I mean, we're moving away from it, but it's still parts of it are there, you know. But anyways, so Edward Bernays realized that women are trying to be independent. They wanted to, you know, they're trying to take over their power back from the men. And so in the Easter parade, he hired all these women, these socialites at the time that were well known. I don't remember who or whatever, but they were well-known socialites, people that had women with influence, and maybe they were feminists or whatever. And so he hired them to light up cigarettes at this particular point in the parade when the paparazzi would be taking all these pictures. He paid newspapers to run articles. They would run like torches of freedom. Women light up torches to demonstrate that they too can smoke cigarettes, because smoking was seen like a man thing to do at the time, right? It was like almost like a phallic kind of symbol, you know. It was a manly thing to do, and it was a taboo against women smoking. Well, the tobacco industry was like, well, man, we need to double our profits. You know, how do we get this? How do we break this taboo? Well, they did it. So Edward Bernays did this whole little scheme in the Easter parade. I mean, that was a big part of it. And they hired like women to light up cigarettes in movies. That's why you see a lot of people lighting up cigarettes in movies. In fact, you still see that today, you know, in Netflix and different places like that, where there's still, you know, the cool guy always just, oh, I got to have my smoke after, doing this extreme athletic thing that nobody who smokes could do. You know what I mean? If you get the point of that. But so he literally changed our entire society in one Easter parade, and was responsible for probably hundreds of thousands of deaths because of it. And so this can be used for a lot of bad, you know, a lot of bad things. But he manipulated and broke the taboo overnight because he was smart, right? So that's why we have to be smart. We have to be intelligent with what we do. We have to target what we do. And we just can't just run out there and do stuff, you know, and post Facebook posts and just run into protests and say, oh, I'm gonna carry a sign. Da, 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 da. Okay, where does it go from there? Okay, where does it go from there? If you don't have a list, okay, if you don't know the dude's name, you don't know his phone number, and he just passed by you, okay, yeah, you may have planted a seed, but what about watering that seed? What about cultivating that seed? What about feeding the seed, you know, growing it, turning it into a huge plant? You know, that's what we need to be doing. And the point of that is, you know, I know it's a struggle to get people to show up to these protests, right? It's a struggle I mean, they're saying, oh, we only have 2 people. We can't carry the clipboard. That's all the more reason to carry the damn clipboard, okay? Because if nobody's showing up, if you only have 2 people at a protest and you want 5 people at a protest, well, you have to find a way to get them there, right? How are you going to get them there? Sending messages on Facebook, you know, hoping that somebody's going to run across you on some other platform is, guess what? While you're there, what you have that first initial excitement, a lot of these are psychological and sales techniques. That's when you get it. And I told Brett this. Okay, there's a psychological trick. So let's say you're protesting and someone comes up to you and say, this is a very important issue. You know, I'd love to share more information with you. You know, join my email newsletter and put your name and email down for me. All right. And then as soon as they start writing their name and email, as soon as they start getting to pass their email, they're almost done. Say, oh, don't forget your phone number. Okay, because we want to be able to contact you. We might have some events that you could come and join us with. Okay. Why did not say, give me your phone number right off the bat? Because it's a higher level of comfortability, right? So it's a higher level of comfortability for someone to give you their phone number. But if they're in the process of giving you their email, you've already taken this little step, okay? They're giving you their phone number. To take the next little step, it's not so big. But for them to go from here to here is a lot harder in the beginning. So they take little steps with them. So you say, hey, you know, here, you know, I'd love to share more information about this with you. You know, say something like, you know, most people don't even know the anatomy. You want to know more than doctors do? You know, let me share this information with you. Okay, that might, you know, that's just a way of getting them involved. You know, or you know, and then you as soon as you've broken that barrier, then you take it to the next level. Oh, while you're doing that, give me your phone number. Okay. Now that they're writing their phone number down, hey, pass that to your friend. Okay. Why don't you want to pass it to his friend? What you don't want to take it from him and then pass it to his friend. Why? Because his friend passing it,
Yeah, makes more of a
lower barrier it's a lower level of comfortability, right?
Right. He trusts his
It's a
friend,
small
so he's
step.
more likely to trust you when it's coming from his
Right.
friend.
Right, exactly. Yeah, Scott's 100% right about that. They're much more likely to trust you as opposed to trust their friend as opposed to you, right? Some random dude on the street. And that's how that initial, once you break those initial barriers, an email, like who cares about an email, right? I'll never share that. Don't worry about it. I'm never going to share that with anybody else. It's just for me and you. Okay. You can make it comfortable. You can lower the height of the difficulty. So let's say somebody says, I just don't feel comfortable giving you my email. Hey, I promise you, I'll never share it with anybody. It's just between me and you. I really think this information is super valuable. Just give me your email. It's not gonna, I promise you, I won't send you to spam. I'm not going to blow up your email with a whole bunch of messages. Make it kind of like that. And then you're like, oh, okay. Right. And don't take the first no as well. Always say, have something in your back pocket to throw out there next. Okay. That's what the cutters are doing. That's what Intact America, when they found out the cutters are taking on an average of 8 no's before they would stop, soliciting the mother for circumcision. That's high pressure sales. Okay, that's sales techniques that you learn when you go and take a sales course, right? So, anyways, so having that list, building that list, and that's why we do the database gathering. It's so important, because if you don't have that list, you're just you can go there, you're spinning your wheels. The value of getting to that place to have the signs to protest is partly to set, to give people this, plant the seeds in as many people as you can, but it's also partly to find local people in that area that can contribute to future protests, right? They might even show up at future protests. And it's a number game, just like anything else. You get 100 people, maybe 3 will show up. I know that's a bad number, but that's probably somewhat realistic. If you have enough people that in your funnel, you have you're gathering this wide net, and you're slowly bringing them into the funnel. And the funnel at the bottom is the people that are the most dedicated, right? They're the ones that are going to be volunteers like you guys are. They're going to show up to meetings. They're going to send web forms. They're going to write papers, and they're going to, you start with the wide net and you kind of funnel it down. This is all sales stuff that you can learn. Sales funnels. There's sales funnels. You can Google that stuff and learn about it. But anyways, understanding the psychology of people is very valuable. That's why understanding how Edward Bernays manipulated so many people is really valuable, and understanding how, because for me, when I got into this stuff in health, and I realized, how nefarious these companies are, like Monsanto. My first protest was against Monsanto. We had 1,500 people in Las Vegas, Nevada, walk down the strip. 1,500 people walking down the strip. Guess what I noticed? Not one single reporter, not one article was ever done about that protest. Why? I don't know. But I have my theories, but and that's kind of what we're up against a little bit as well. But another thing is, did they do an outreach to reporters? Did they just send a press release, or did they send a series of campaigns that explained why we're doing this, that educated them, and then call them and everything, like make phone calls and everything, send the emails, make phone calls, gather the data, and all that stuff. I would imagine that we probably would have had more reporters there. Same thing for Bloodstained Men. They didn't have a lot of news articles being printed. And I'm like, why? This is, how often do you have a traveling protest come to, some of these towns that they're going to? Probably not often, right? So these are newsworthy events. And this is a particular newsworthy event issue. I think as society breaks its aware, as the taboo starts to break around this issue, it's gonna be a lot easier to influence media and those types of things. But anyways, let's see. Is there anything else anybody wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I do. So one approach I've taken to this to get other people on board is I go on YouTube for for circumcision videos because people would watch those to be educated on the subject, and that's the kind of people we want to talk to. And I go into the comments and post, hey, thank you, you guys are doing the right thing by researching this, and then put links to the NLI website and also to the Zoom meetings saying that we have them on Mondays. We should come up, I'd say keep them short so they don't have to expand it to read the whole message, like 5 lines at the most. Get to the point so that people want to read it, because actually a shorter message is more likely to be read than a longer one. People might skip the longer messages or comments. And yeah, I think
that's why that email was short. Remember that email I showed you earlier that had that's why me and Scott made that email together.
Yep.
Actually.
Yeah, it was short. Yes. The short ones people go to, like, I notice I do it myself when reading comments, even on Facebook, YouTube. I don't always read them in order. I read the shorter ones first, and then go to the longer ones. So if you guys would also help with that way it's not only coming from one account on YouTube. Just write something in there about, hey, you guys doing the right thing by researching this. There's more information here at than to put the URL for the NLI website. And then also mention, hey, we have meetings Monday, 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every week, every Monday. If you guys could do that.
I think that that type of outreach, us, like, we're kind of like I wouldn't target brand new people with NLI. Okay. NLI is not really geared to, and I'm not saying that what you're doing is bad, Scott, especially because you're targeting people that are watching the video. So I get that. But what I'm saying is I would take that time that you're spending in the YouTube, and I would go to people that are already Intactivists, people that are responding to Brother K and Intact America and Your Whole Baby and Intact Share.
Where do I find them?
On YouTube, on Facebook. I know you've done that too.
You mean like go to the Bloodstained Men's page and then talk to the people in the comments? That's what you're talking about.
Look here's Ron Goldman. I had him respond to some things I was asking some questions. Anyways, if you don't know, Ronald Goldman's a fantastic Intactivist. He's one of the leaders. I think he's doing a suing something right now. let's do this. We're gonna go to Bloodstained Men and we'll look at. So Bloodstained Men gets a lot of views. Okay, at least they were. I think they've had a dramatic decrease in the number of views that Bloodstained Men is getting. Why? Because it is there is a lot of inhibition. So you come over here, you get, he had 63 likes. Okay, so you come over here, 65 likes. Okay, well, number one, go and add all these people as friends if they're not friends, right? Because these are Intactivists that are already liking it. These would be our target audience for NLI.
Recruitment.
Not some new cutter not some brand new person that's never even heard of this, right? That you want to send like Your Whole Baby, or the Your Whole Baby, or what we talked about earlier, Elephant in the Hospital. Those are
I mean, I went to the Elephant in the Hospital video and posted in the comments there.
That would be perfect.
But it was for NLI. But you're saying we should direct them to Your Whole Baby?
I'm saying if they're new and they're not Intactivists yet, then I would not send them to NLI's website.
Okay.
No, that's website, right? Why?
But still do it with Your Whole Baby. Okay, that's fine. Yeah.
I mean, look at all these people right here. Okay, right here's a whole list of people that you could come in here and start sending that same cut and paste, that same thing to, right? Number one, you could add them as friends, but you could go over here. Let's see the ones that are friends already.
This is like on Facebook,
right? Okay, we got Jonathan Redford, Bill Burkhoff, Michael Nash. We could just go right here, message, and then cut and paste. Okay, I don't think that's the right thing I want to cut and paste there, but you kind of see how easy that is. And these are people that are already Intactivists, right? I'd love to have. I've talked to a little bit with Jonathan, and he's a fantastic Intactivist. I'd love to have him come to our meetings, right? I don't know if I approached him or not. This is another fantastic Intactivist I'd love to have come to our meetings. I'm just kidding. Brett Johnson. Brett, you got to come, man. We miss you, brother. Brett's come to a number of our meetings, but he is super busy. And when it comes to Monday, he's wiped out. So I get it. Like, anyways. So yeah, Scott, I think, you know, I noticed this when I was doing, when I was looking at these, look at 65 likes. Okay, that's powerful, right? There's 65 people right there. There's 128. That's a
Yeah.
lot of people. Okay, a lot of
And
people. I'm not getting
these are what
128 likes
bloodstained
on my
men
stuff.
posts? Is that what they
Huh?
are? Bloodstained men posts?
Yeah, look at all these people. You can add these people as friends. Okay, some of them you can't. You know, these are opportunities. Oops, she's laughing. Oh, what is this about? Let me see what this is about. I can't handle the laughers. Let's get rid of, I don't want any laughers. No laughing people. Oh wait, some of these people are, now these are the weirdos right here, right? Cancel this. I don't know, Sarah McGill. I could be wrong. But some of these I don't think are laughers are not the people we're looking for. We're looking for these people, the ones that love it, right? So anyways, you can go through here and, you know, find out who's your friends. If they're not friends, add them, right? A lot of these people used to be friends of mine before some things happened and I got blocked. But look, this is just Intactivist marketing opportunities. Fantastic Intactivist marketing for marketing to Intactivists, right? And NLI is not an organization that's trying to change somebody from a cutter into a Intactivist. We're trying to gather Intactivists and help them say, look, there's a better way of doing things, there's a more effective way that we can do this. It's way more powerful and it's less stressful. It's a hell of a lot less stressful, you know, most of the times. Okay, anyways, that's ways of doing these. You can add here.
All right, so we all could do that. We all could go on Facebook and go to the post for the bloodstained men and for the pictures, and then let people comment, you know, reply to them and just tell them about this.
Yeah, you could send them, you could write out a little message to them and, you know,
Yeah, no, I have it. I will do that. I'm just saying it like everyone too, you know, I don't want to be the only one. I think the message is more powerful when it comes from more people, you know, than just
I agree
one.
with that. I definitely agree with that. And, you know, it's, this is another opportunity that we could do. So that could be part of our program is that we maybe we get together and try to send some, I don't know, we could get together on, maybe even do it on these Monday meetings and just.
And it's not just Facebook. I've heard that people use the other social like Snapchat and TikTok, and they have it there.
And
Instagram. Yeah, I don't use those, but for the people who know about that, are real familiar with those platforms.
TikTok is fantastic.
Yeah. So I mean, like, there's a lot of potential out there. So I'm just hoping that if we do this, and I mean all of us, you know, on here do this, it'll pull in a lot more people.
Let's see. I don't want to waste time doing this because I don't know where I'm at with this, but anyways, yeah, TikTok is fantastic. I've got a page on TikTok. I've been doing that. I've been going off on people on TikTok. It's been fantastic because they don't have any way of debating me because I can always answer every one of them. But anyways, anything else you want to add with that, Scott? So yeah, everybody that's on here, these are all great opportunities for us. So, go to Bloodstained Men and their friends. Look at some of these people that are liking this and not the ones that are laughing at it. Although,
Yeah,
some of the ones that are angry at it are actually really are like me. They're just angry at it. See, look at all these people. Add friend. Oops. Sorry, I'm not going to bother Brother K. See how easy this is? Just go right through here. Now we have a list. You can create your own list of Intactivists. Okay, right? Okay, I'm done with this. Anybody want to add anything tonight? We're going to end it early. I'm exhausted. We've been going for an
Yeah.
hour. This is
Yeah, I just wanted to go.
yeah, go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh, I
Anthony,
was
is
just
that
gonna
you?
go back to what you said before about like, companies hire people to make up fake bullshit studies and all that, so they
Yeah.
think it's actual like real evidence. That's kind of what I feel about circumcision. It's like every time it seems like you think the numbers are going down, they publish another fake study. Oh, it prevents this. The AP says it may support this, or it's like, I don't know. They can't accept the fact that people don't or that it's not good. Every time every time more and more people stop doing it, they're like, oh, we need to make up something else to scare people into doing this. Like, I don't know. That's kind of what we're up against.
I agree.
Then we need to make
If that
something
makes any
to
sense.
inform the public about that. No, it makes sense. You're right. They make up another health condition to say, oh, you got to do it for this. So
Well, that's what our campaigns are about. That's what our campaigns are about. We're going to blow away when we get to the so we got the first campaign, FGM to MGM, connecting FGM and MGM together and showing how without ending MGM will never end FGM. The second one is anatomy, structure, and function, which we're going to be working on very, very soon. The third one is going to be the psychological harms and how this influences our entire society. The fourth one, the fourth one is going to be history and the medical excuses, the ridiculousness of the medical excuses. I mean, if you think about these medical excuses and you extrapolate the actual facts, like the amount of UTIs, let's say that this is actually true. Let's say it's 100% true. The amount of UTIs that this prevents is still trivial. It's still nonsensical. It's still cutting off a foot percent a stub toe.
Well, hey, I think with all the information that you have, you write great reports. What if you and I came up with a new information card, that our people and pass out at real protests,
I think Brett's card right now. If I'm going to do a protest, it's going to be a cockfight protest at the universities. And if I'm going to do that, I'm going to use his stuff because we need to build his brand. Again, like NLI is not, I don't want to create a separate NLI, traveling protest and try to redo what Brett's doing. I want to use what works, and what Brett's doing is working. You know what I mean? And so what I would do is I would just buy some of Brett's cockfight ones. They're perfect for, I wouldn't say that they would be good for, middle-aged 30, 40 people, but that's not the people that are doing this anyways. In general, it's mostly they're going to be 25, 26, 27, 28. Those people in that age group are the ones that are going to be cutting next. So that's who we need to target. So, and that flyer is perfect for them. The whole idea of cockfight is perfect for them. And it's just a fantastic system. And that's one of the things that when I started coming up with the ideas of NLI, it's not like I'm coming up with this stuff myself. It's all a lot of other people. We've brainstormed together. We've sat together and shared all these great ideas, and we came up with this stuff. One of the things I don't want to do is recreate existing structure. Okay. So I even debated creating an education part of my website because there's so many really fantastic data-filled websites out there that I just didn't want to create a whole nother one and compete against them. And here, let me give you my data thing. And I wanted to, utilize what's out there and then target that. But what I realized is my stuff is going to be unique, and it's going to have what I see is what would influence me, right? And that may not be the best for everybody, but I know that it's. So I decided, hey, you know what? I'm going to start sending this, and it's really been fantastic because I've been using it on TikTok a lot. I've been using it every time I get in a debate with the cutter. I can show them my. Let me just show you my. This is an actual good, would be something I would share with. So I'm kind of going back on what I just told you guys, but I'm sorry about that. But I want you to understand why. So this is education library. me just pull this up real quick. Oh, come on.
I was just thinking that, you know, these topics we talk about, I don't think that they're in all of the informational pamphlets, cards that are passed out. It would be pretty good information, I think.
Yeah, I mean, we could have an information card. I would totally agree with that. I actually made one before. Yeah, I've made a couple of them actually. But yeah, that's up to debate is like what's the best for that because everybody's gonna be talked to that. But I mean, this right here, in my opinion, is just to the point. It's got the best information that's out there. It's best information I could find in the last 7 years. Anatomy, structure, and function. You got Marilyn Milos right off the bat here.
Yeah, she's excellent.
You got
excellent.
Sorrell's fine touch sensitivity testing. You got Professor McGrath, which is a fascinating video right here with Professor McGrath. You've got the Taylor, Colden, Lockwood fine touch sensitivity testing. You got pictures of Meisner corpuscles. You've got images utilizing Sorrell sensitivity testing and showing what's bad. You know, let's see, what is this? I don't know what this one is. I don't know what it was. Oh, foreskin in motion. Yeah, I remember that one. Okay, anybody else have anything they want to add before we shut it all down?
I was gonna say it's not even like just medical stuff. Like I don't know if people still say it. There's a whole bullshit argument. Oh, I'll do it to my son because it was done to me. Like that, like it was like men just want their son to look like them, which is super creepy. It's like,
yeah,
if you were missing like an arm or a finger or something, you wouldn't cut your son's finger off so that he only has 4 fingers or whatever, like you know.
Well, Anthony,
Why would-
some of these people don't have that level of intelligence.
I mean, it's sad because it doesn't require that much
Right.
that doesn't really require a whole lot of critical thinking to you think about it for like 2 seconds, like, you know what, this really doesn't make any fucking sense at all.
Right. Well, you know what I was going to say is I got this guy on and I said, you know, I like to tell people that they're lying to themselves first off. You know, you're lying to yourself first. And they're like, how do you lie to yourself? This dude asked me that. And I was like, well, if you have the potential, right? If you've graduated high school, if you didn't fail 3rd grade math, like if you passed 3rd grade math and you know, could do arithmetic, that's really all you need, right? You add 3rd grade math, 5th grade biology. You know, the biology teaches us the body nature doesn't make disease causing tissue. That's ludicrous. It would be selected out. It would not perpetuate itself in society if that was the case. But there's a reason that's there, right? So that's obviously one of the most important concepts of evolution. And I hate to use the term evolution because it has connotations that really don't apply to it. But natural selection or adaptation, for lack of better words, you know, it wouldn't happen without there being a reason for it. But somehow this is being reproduced over and over and over again for the last 150 million years, right? Since mammals started developing penile sheaths. But anyways, yeah,
it's
this
like, well, I was just saying, it's like you said this last week. You were like, you know, men they like to think their penis is like super great and all that. Like you said, I think you said their ego is like wrapped around. So for
Right.
a man to for a man to sit down and say, you know what, it's my penis is not all it could be, so to speak.
Right.
Even though it's not their fault, it's like they just don't want to admit that.
But they're also thinking, what's the value for them? What's the benefit?
Yeah, but even though it's not their fault, they just can't admit that.
Yeah.
That something was done to them.
But there's no upside to acknowledging that. No, like when you're talking about personally, what I'm going to gain personally from this. Like, what do I gain from this? Nothing.
Well, that's why there's foreskin restoration, you know.
Well, there is that. But what I'm saying is the average person, to them, there's no gain. There's no benefit to saying, you know what, you're right. Damn, I'm missing half the surface area, 75% of the nerves. Damn, this harmed me. Okay, it's math. So what I attribute that to is people are jockeying for positions in the social hierarchy, and it's insecurities. They're literally covering their insecurities because you have to be insecure to deny your own reality, right? And harm children at the same time. So it's a self-lie. No intactivist should take it as reasonable. The worst thing you can not take as reasonable is the men who are cut as adults who say it's better for them. Oh, well, if I'm glad it's better for you, but it shouldn't be done to children. Okay, that is wrong. Like, that's the most ridiculous statement I've ever heard. If someone came to you and said, my lunch tastes better after I cut off half my tongue, what would you think? You'd think they're a complete moron.
Well, yeah.
Because they would be, right? And this is literally the same thing. It's half the surface area, 75% nerves. So of course it's extremely harmful. I am falling asleep, guys. And
Hey,
But I was gonna say that like
Go ahead.
6 months ago or whatever, when I just went off on my mom after she was sending me those stupid messages. That's what I was trying to get her to understand. It's like this isn't about me. Like this, I'm trying to get everybody. I want other people to understand how fucked up this is. Like she thinks I'm on here just complaining, like, "Oh, poor me," blah blah.
Sure.
No,
I
I,
mean, it's just,
I want her to see that if me quote unquote complaining helps somebody else to understand how truly fucked up this is, and that's the entire purpose. Like
well,
this
didn't you
isn't
bring
about
this to
me.
Serena?
Yeah, I think I've talked to her about this.
No, I
It's
mean,
like, this
didn't
is-
you save Serena's son?
Well, yeah, more or less. Yeah, she messaged
More
me
or
like,
less,
"Oh,
give yourself some credit, brother.
well, I mean, I
You
don't want
literally
to.
saved your
Yeah, I
son
know. Well, I
from
don't.
this.
Yeah,
Look, I
yeah.
mean,
She literally just messaged me one day out of the blue, like a month ago, or whatever. She's like, she's like, "Oh, thank you for sharing this information and helping get the word out there." She's like, so I could help save my son. He was like 2 weeks old at the time. I was like, "Oh my god, yeah." And
Well, when
we
I
were,
talked to her, she still hadn't had her son. So I think this was before she had her son when she
well,
met you.
yeah, she messaged me when he was like 2 weeks old. I saw her liking my post. She'd been following me for a while, but I didn't know who she was. And then one day she mentioned that she was 16. And I'm like, this girl seems way too smart and mature to be 16.
Right.
Like you think about 16-year-old girls, they're like, la, 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 la. No, like,
Well,
but no,
I mean,
she has more common sense than her entire family combined, you know.
I mean, in a lot of traditional societies, women were having babies at 16. Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
have these rules in our society, which I think are very, 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 very important, because a lot of people will take advantage of them and they're too young at 18. I mean, even at 18, you could argue that's just way too young, right? I mean,
Yeah.
you could argue at 21 is too young. You could argue 22 is too young. I mean, you can keep going. 26 is an idiot, right? I mean, not 30, you're still kind of slightly gathering some maturity. I mean, but you could argue all these things, but the thing is, there's way more potential within and the funny thing is, I'll have these kids like, you're arguing with a 13-year-old. How stupid are you? And I'm like, when I was 13, I would have got this, bro. Like if someone taught me this, I would have got it. Like, what's wrong with you? Like, I don't even let them up because they're 13. I'm like, no, I don't care if you're 2, right? A 5-year-old gets this. A 5-year-old should get this. It's wrong to do to children. 5-year-olds do get this more so than the adults in a lot of cases. So it's just mind-boggling. But no, Anthony, I think you were instrumental in Serena saving her son.
Oh, yeah. She said she saw my page through like mutual contacts. So she said the first page she ever saw when she got on Instagram was Your Whole Baby, which is fantastic. I mean,
Okay.
If you got one place to start, that's a really good place,
Right. and that's why I said earlier, Your Whole Baby it's one of those where it's very non-op. So when I'm talking about like, how am I going to broach the subject to a new intactivist? I'm sorry, a new person that's never even heard about this before. Your Whole Baby is probably one of the better ones to do that with, right? It's the whole idea of your whole baby, right? That's a very powerful statement, right? And it's very non-off-putting. It's geared towards women, that are pregnant and having babies, and also it's designed to not push them away, right? Whereas some things that I would do would maybe push somebody away if I wasn't being careful or using it the right time, right? These things have They're places, and that's another thing is you always want to figure out what's your target audience, who's your target market, because you're going to market directly to that person. And I know probably everybody here has heard that you wanted to develop a niche with whatever area you're working on. Well, NLI's niche is they're already understanding Intactivists. They're people who are Intactivists who already get it. Okay, that's our niche. And so that's why we want to focus on those people, Intactivists. Not going out and changing cutters' minds, but getting Intactivists to do what we're doing so that we can become more effective and efficient ourselves. I would like to I would like to have more help with this, so we can open up more avenues. Imagine if we have 10 states going on 11, even 12. So we're gonna have 12 states soon. So 12 states, that's 1/5 of the entire country, right? Imagine if we had the same, but with doulas and midwives, right? Could you imagine that? Imagine if we had 12 states of doulas and midwives.
Yeah.
Imagine
And-
the power behind such a thing.
And if we had like teams for religious outreach,
Yes.
to talk about
Yes.
that had a way of speaking specifically towards Christian groups or Muslim groups or Jewish groups.
Well, I would
You know?
target Christian groups because Christian groups have the lowest hanging fruit. Number one, they're the majority of Americans that are in religion. Number two,
Yeah,
there's Bible verses that are directly contradictory.
there's a lot of contradictions in the Bible.
Yeah. So there's these we have these tools, we have leverage against Christians that we don't have. I mean, we still have that with Muslims because there's Muslim Bible verses that warn that Satan will convince people to cut parts off of animals and themselves, that God created us perfectly in his mold. So there's no flaws in man's creation. There's a whole bunch of Bible Quranic, I don't know what they call them verses, Quranic sutras or something. I don't forget what they call it. But they call it something. But there's a whole bunch of these verses in the Quran that directly contradict circumcision as well, but just not as overt as the Bible. Because the Bible is literally the whole coming of Jesus was about fulfilling the covenant, right? And the covenant was originally, which is kind of crazy, is mutilating babies and also the slaves that you own. Literally, that's where it comes from in Genesis. The same time that the supposedly loving God, I don't want to talk bad about religions, but because we really want to get some really good and Christian Intactivists. But I mean, if you think about it, that type of thing, cutting the genitals of children and then doing the same to your slaves, represented the morals of the time. Okay, slavery was okay. Children didn't have as much value, right? Their bodies weren't valuable. Sexuality didn't have as much value. It's disgusting, and kind of this puritanical type of mentality, And so, anyways,
I'd just like to add one more thing, and then you can go to bed or whatever.
right.
Because when Sarah and I first started getting connected on Instagram, she said when she found out she was having a boy, he's her son's 2.5 now or whatever, but she found out she was having a boy, and then she heard about circumcision somewhere, and she came home and talked to her husband, and he was just like, no, we're not doing it. But what she said to me one time was, she's like, it took me about 2 weeks to realize that it was quote unquote just okay to be in tech. But she said it took several months of research to realize, this is really fucked up. So
Right.
at first she was like, it's okay, you'll be fine. And then as she started doing research, it's more than just okay. It's very not okay to be the other way,
Do that to a child? Hell no.
Yeah.
Yep.
So.
I mean, the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more it took me many years to really fully wrap my mind around it, to understand how it affects the entire society. Our entire society is damaged by this. The entire society. We live in a different world.
So I just saw a post on Instagram the other day. It was 5 slides or something, but it's basically the entire thing is just imagine a world with no rape, or a world where women can go outside at night without being afraid that some crazy man will attack them. And I'm sitting there reading this, and I'm like, Well, maybe in a world where we don't mutilate infants, there's like 2 days after they're born, maybe this will be a reality, you know? Because if you
Well,
look
you
at,
know,
if you
the
look at,
people
the, if
like,
you look at,
oh,
the, because if you look at the rates of like men being violent towards women, the countries that have the most violence are the ones that circumcise males, like, you know, early in life, you know. The
not
ones that don't,
surprising.
the ones that don't do this don't have nearly as much violence, I think, you know.
You know what? There's a study that really kind of shows that it says that
So Europe, right?
circumcised men have more elaborate sexual practices.
It was
Hey, what does that mean?
well, there was a country in Europe that kept track of that, like with their sex offenders and all.
Yeah,
like
the Finland did.
99%
Like
or
80%
something,
of
yeah.
them are from genital mutilating cultures. But anyways,
Yeah.
now what I was
Because
gonna say is
I've said before that I would be very surprised if there were any intact rapists, like very, very, very few, if any.
I mean,
you know?
there are.
I'm sure there are, but it's like I'm sure it's very low. Yeah.
I mean, Germany was intact, and they went after the world, kind of crazy. Like,
Well,
so,
yeah.
I mean,
Well, yeah.
I mean, it's not an end all be all, but it is.
No, but it's a huge start. You know, it's like
foundational. Yeah.
this is a huge piece of it.
Oh, it's a huge piece of it, and that's the point. Is the more you realize how big it is. That's why I got out of health activism. That's why I got out of politics, because to me, it's like this is more foundational. You can, if I'm the Edward Bernays behind the scenes manipulating the society, and I wanted to do it as my peon self, this would be the most influential thing I think I could possibly do with my life in the world. And that's why I'm doing it. Number one, because it's so egregious and disgusting. Number two, it happened to me, and I'm pissed the hell off about it. And number three, if we want to see a better world, we got to change this. This is foundational. All right, guys. Anybody else want to jump in there and add something before we close it
Yeah, I
down?
just want to ask for a little progress report for those of you who are sending out web forms. How's that going?
Is anybody who's on here sending out web forms?
I finished Oklahoma the other day.
Oh,
Good.
snap. Is that
I guess
Michael?
I just gotta send you the dead Lincoln problem Word doc, and I'll get that to you pretty soon, in the next couple of days.
Say that again?
I just gotta get the problem and dead URL list Word doc
Oh, okay.
document
Yeah,
back
so
to, I think.
we can
And
That's
clear those.
fantastic, Michael.
minute.
Thank you.
That's for Oklahoma.
Did we
Thank you.
did I?
That's
I
really-
think
that's really awesome.
Marked Oklahoma is finished. Is it, Daniel?
Yeah, Oklahoma's finished. I just send the updated Word doc back with the dead
He's gonna
links.
send
and
us the updated Word doc. Yeah.
No, I was asking Daniel if I updated it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's
I
I'm
don't
looking.
know. We'll figure
That's
that out later, Scott. I'm gonna let you guys go. Peace out. Love you guys.
Take
You
care,
guys,
man.
thanks for joining us, and I
Have a great
really
weekend.
appreciate it.
Oh, hey Danny, if you got email 4 finished, you could send it to me and I can start sending it out.
Okay, well, we'll get to that. Yeah, we will get to that. Kathleen is actually gonna read it first, and when she edits it, then we're gonna send it out.
Oh, okay. Oklahoma's at 90. You're Mike. Okay, Mike. Yeah,
Yeah,
it was at 90
see-
last time I asked. 90%. Now you got it finished. All right, great.
Yeah.
Oh,
See.
there's like updates for the problem stuff.
Yeah.
The problems were very low though. That's a good thing.
Oh,
Okay,
yeah,
hey
cool.
Scott, what I want you to do is I want you to go in there. We need to have something that lets us know that we talked to Michael and he's already good for the week. Because what I want to do is I just wanted to mention this last thing because Scott brought it up and actually reminded me is that everybody that we're having doing the web forms, we just need a progress report at the end of each week. We need to know where you're at, what you're doing. We need to know if it's not being done. If something happens in your life. If you're overwhelmed or whatever, we need to know all that stuff because we either have to cover it ourselves or there's no pressure with this stuff. We should have ample time to do this stuff. But the sooner we get it out, the more closer
Oh, we want to keep you on track.
emails are, the better they're going to be. So
Yeah,
anyways,
no, I'm gonna
love you
update,
guys.
Danny. I'm gonna update it right now, the tracking form, and then email it to you.
Awesome. Thank you, brother.
All right, so Mike, thanks for telling us. So Oklahoma is complete. Awesome, that's great
Yeah,
news.
thank you, Mike. That's huge, man. I appreciate that.
I'll provide weekly updates in the future.
Yeah,
Thank you.
provide,
Thank you so much.
either you can contact him or her contact you. It's probably easier for you to contact him. So I'm
Yeah,
going to
I'll just-
recommend that everybody that's volunteering is just at the
Yeah.
end of the week, just send us a quick progress report. Hey, I'm at 70%, or hey, I'm at 30%, or whatever it is. There's no pressure. You know, there's never pressure. I'm never gonna be mad at you or whatever, you know, because you're helping us out. So that would be stupid.
Well,
You know,
yeah, then just contact me, you know, because Danny's busy with other stuff. and
well, yeah,
takes
Scott's
other
the man.
stuff.
He's the man when it comes to that. So anyways, all right, guys, peace out.
Thanks, Ciao.
You guys, talk to
Have
you
a good
later.
one.
Break up the adhesions between the foreskin and the head of the penis.
Part in pediatrics, the reason we're circumcising is mainly because you feel more comfortable with a circumcised penis, especially since your other two children are already circumcised, right? Basically what we're doing is an elective procedure, primarily because you just feel more comfortable. In the clamp, then we clamp it.
Capitalization behind circumcisions. Hospitals and doctors can make big bucks off the procedure, especially since the foreskin doesn't always go out with the biohazard. Sometimes it's sold for a profit.
Look at the data. It looks like there are some things that it does reduce the incidence of, but there are things that are incredibly rare anyway.
There are religious, ethical, cultural, and medical reasons to circumcise. For Father Kobe Johnson, despite being circumcised himself, he decided not to circumcise his 4 boys.
The concern of, oh, I'm going to look different than my dad, or I'm going to look different than the other guys in the middle school shower, it doesn't really come up that much.
To him, medical benefits didn't outweigh the risks.